Great afternoon. Great afternoon. I hope y'all are feeling amazing. I'm only going to be able to be on here for about 45 minutes today because I got lunch, but I wanted to hop on because I don't know when's the next time I'm going to be on here. I got a jam-packed weekend of work. We're here. We are live. Live from Atlanta. I've got a jam-packed weekend of work, and I'm already feeling the throat chakra. Whenever I do a lot of work, my throat gets really itchy and scratchy. So we got about 45 minutes, y'all, and I really want to spend some time. I want to start with fear. Of course, y'all put your questions in the question box. Like I said, 45, like I know I'll be saying that I got to go, but 45 minutes, I got to go for real. So whatever questions y'all got, go ahead and drop them in the question box. I'm going to try and do some Q&A as well today. Hello, lovely Rita Ada. Oh, okay. We'll say Rita. Okay. So fear. Starting with fear. This has been on my mind for the past couple of days, really thick. But just over the past couple of months, what has been coming up for me has been experiencing, noticing, witnessing, feeling this just immense darkness. Hey girl, hey. This immense darkness in the atmosphere. It's been a very interesting thing to experience because when it first started happening, I thought that the darkness was outside of me, if that makes sense. I was having these, y'all, it's just been some real wild and crazy things happening spiritually. The dreams, the feeling, the energies around me when I'm sleeping. I'm like, get your ass back, because don't bother me when I'm asleep. But over time, especially through the work that I've been called to do with different people within myself the last couple of months, I really just got to this thing with looking at the fear. Noticing, being aware that whatever it was that I was experiencing, whatever density, whatever darkness I was experiencing in my atmosphere, it had to have some type of vibrational match with something. So, for instance, say there were times where I'm walking around my house and I'm feeling an energy in my hallway. So I'm around the hallway like trying to transmute, like karate chopping and shit, or calling it out, telling it to go ahead and go. But dense energies literally cannot stomach being in a high vibrational space. And so that's not to say that my home was dense, but there were things within me that were coming forth. And so because those energies were within me, it was creating an energetic resonance for other density to come into my space. So now with that, recognize, if this helps the mind, recognize fear as a parasite. Fear is just and I mean this in every literal term possible, that fear is a parasite. I did some work with my apprentices on Sunday, did a private plant medicine ceremony for me. Yes, I'm going to save the life. I did a private plant medicine ceremony for them. And there was a moment where I'm working with one of them and the other one starts to cry. And, when you're connecting with plant medicine, you become so connected with the energy in the atmosphere. So as I'm working with one, the other one starts to cry, and then I feel this dense heaviness come into the space. Now, what the lesser experienced me as a healer would have done was recognize it as an entity and started to want to cast it out, right? But something that I've grown to understand is in a lot of cases, when fear is present, especially when it's present within us, and it's projecting itself outward, it's protecting something. Okay? So working with that apprentice, I feel the fear come up, and I start to ask her, what are you protecting? And she's covering her face. So we can also just look at the things that we do with our bodies, right? When you sit like this, folding your arms, just anything. A lot of people sit with their stomachs covered, even crossing your legs, looking at the parts of the body that you're trying to protect. So the fear came up. We started to talk to her. What is protecting? Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So we're getting through that part. Then there was a moment where in the midst of this, she's making a lot of sound, right? So her breathing is really heavy, but it's like I'm listening to the breath and I'm like, tell this entity to shut the hell up. Because that's also something that's really interesting. With the fear, we're going to call it fear, but it manifests itself and shows itself in so many different ways, right? So it could be you being very distracted, and now it's distracting you from something. It can be, now of course examples aren't coming, but in any form where something comes up and you hear the voice says, I'm afraid of that, or you might not even hear it say, I'm afraid of that, but just, it presents itself as a roadblock. Like, come on, words. It presents itself as a roadblock. Okay. So she's making all of this noise, right? And so I said, how about we give it some silence? How about you just stop for a moment? So stop exhaling with sound. Stop, just quiet. The moment we got quiet, the room got so silent, and you could feel the fear scrambling. You could feel it scrambling. And so we were able to work through, I was able to talk her through backing her fear in a corner, because I've realized this before, but really sitting in that moment and coming face to face with the fact that fear is just present because it's present. It's just present because it's there. So when I say that fear is a parasite, what I mean by that is, if fear is present in the atmosphere, right, it's going to find something to latch onto. It needs a host. So we can take this even deeper in saying, perhaps, I don't want to go this. Okay, I'm gonna go and then I'm gonna come back. The fear needs a host. In order for the fear to live, because every single thing in our environment and in our reality, it's trying to live. It's trying to survive. So look at it this way. In order for the fear to survive, it needs a host, and it needs to feed off of your energy. It needs you to go deeper into whatever that fear is, because the more afraid you are, the more energy it receives. Okay? So with that, I want y'all to think about some of the thoughts that come through your mind, like some of those so-called intrusive thoughts, the things that spiral around in your mind, the ones that go over and over and over again. You can imagine that this is the fear trying to grow. It's trying to get more life from you. So it's going to continue to repeat to you the same things. One, because it's playing on loop, it's a pattern, but also looking at it as a parasite, it needs you to be even more afraid. And the moment you stop being afraid of one thing, because fear exists, it's going to find something else to attach itself to. So now let's look at this as babies. Let's look at this as children from birth, and the way that we inherit ancestral patterns and the way that we inherit ancestral fears, right? Imagine that you've had a lineage of people who experienced scarcity. Now, this stuff is so very real. I have seen instances where there was one ancestor who had a very bad and traumatic experience with something. And y'all, a lot of times these is like ancestors past, like 5 generations, 6 generations. But that fear continued to be passed down the line. Now the fear is getting stronger and stronger as it's going from mother to daughter. The fear is getting stronger and stronger. And one thing I will say with men in particular, this is not a shot at men, it's men and women, but I've noticed this within my people, because it's mostly my people that I work with, one of the quote unquote fear spirits, like these, one of the parasites that passes itself down through our genealogy is a spirit of perversion. That parasite, and this goes back to slave days. This goes back to the things that our people were made to do when during slavery. So that energy, it just passes down. It gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And that is why we have such a history of sexual abuse, molestation, and all of that stuff inside of our families. So, you know, that got to be dealt with. But your mother is down the lineage, right? Whatever the thing is, the fear, the parasite, whatever that is, it's passed down the lineage, right? So now it gets to you. And I have experienced this so much recently in the work that I'm doing. There are so many women that I work with who have done the work, who are doing the work. They're doing the things. But these certain fears keep coming up, and it doesn't make any sense to them. They don't understand why it's there. And I'm with them, and I'm like, I know you're not scared. I can tell you're not scared. I can feel you're not scared. You've done the work. You've worked through this. But because you're carrying that fear in your lineage, now the vibration, the parasite, it sees you. It see you. And so it's like, I'm attached to that. That one right there. They're carrying a vibration that matches me. I want that. So what do we do about this, y'all? One, do your work, because some of y'all are scared and y'all ain't worked through it yet. So that's one. Two, again, understand that fear is only present because it's present. You can replace your fears with any old fear. Fear don't care what you think you're scared of. It just wants to live. The darkness needs a host. And again, this isn't saying that anything is wrong with it. It's acting according to its nature, if you want to look at it that way, because a lot of these fears just need to be transmuted. Because especially when these things have been passed down through the lineage, it happened because of a trauma. And now your ancestor developed a certain coping mechanism in order to deal with the pain. And now it's passing down through the lineage, and all of these people in your lineage have no idea of why they feel this way. They have no idea why they're drawn to the bottle. They don't know why they're really alcoholics. People who beat on their children in a extremely abusive way, they be like, I don't remember that. They be like, I lost control. They don't know exactly why they've lost control. This parasite has grown so much. Now these coping mechanisms no longer work. So in order for that energy to be released, people start to release, in order to cope, in order for the person, the body, to survive, people start to do all kind of outlandish things in order to just release some of that energy. So understand that. Now, look at what are you afraid of? What do you think you're afraid of? Rather, somebody earlier said they're afraid of the dark. What is it about the dark that you're afraid of? What are you afraid to see in the darkness? And I'll tell you, from someone who, in my darkest moments, where I was dealing with the most density, I had issue with walking into a dark room. Issue with it. But what I will tell you is, when I really sat with that fear, it was a fear of death. And now a fear of who dying? Because I knew that I was okay. I knew that I was all right. That was my ego. The ego was afraid of dying because you know that you're okay. And I feel like I've talked about this on another live previously. The shadow and the ego, they grow in tandem. They twins. They just mirror twins out here. They grow in tandem. So those fears are coming up because it's the ego that's really scared, right? Okay, so now, when it comes to doing your work around these things, it's like when it comes to doing your work around these things, how do we want to give this? How do we want to give this? How do we want to give this? I'll say that one, cliche, you've got to look the fear in the face, of course, right? Understanding it's only there because it's there. But an exercise that I gave my apprentices that night was to back their fear into a corner. Someone said, I definitely have a fear of death, IDK, why your ego is afraid of dying. Now, some people have had traumatic past lives experiences with the way that they've died, and then that could make you afraid of death in this life. But your ego is the one that's afraid to die, which is one of the reasons why people experience resistance as they're growing spiritually, because as you grow, the ego has to get smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's what the resistance is coming from. I want to live. I told you, everything is trying to survive. Everything is gunning for its own survival. Now, like I said, of course, look your fears in the face, but I had them back their fear into a corner. With this, and this is different because we on the medicine, so, it's a little deeper, but you can definitely do this not on any type of medicine. First, it's a matter of feeling the fear. So I prompted them to feel the fear. Let it come up, because often we try and stuff it down. But as I said, in many cases, the fear is protection. It's protecting something. So allow yourself to feel the fear. Now, do you let yourself go on the deep end? No. If you're afraid of going on the deep end, don't do this. Get some help. You need some guidance. But if you allow it to come up, you can hear what it's saying. You can hear it. You can ask, what are you protecting? And a lot of times, it's some real superficial shit. Sometimes, it'd be trauma. it'd be trauma, but often it protects you. It's protecting you from feeling the trauma. It's protecting you from feeling your feelings around what happened whenever. But it will often present itself as something superficial, which, a lot of the fears, it's like this very just, when I talk to my fear sometimes, I talk to the fear. I just be like, come on, give me something better than that. Give me something better than that to be afraid of, because when you really just sit with it, okay. Someone said, fear of something I can't even see. Like fear before the thing even happens, but it'll sit on my heart heavy, just because the fear is just present. Because if you get still enough, you will feel that there's a part of you that's actually excited about things that you don't know. There's a part of you that's just very okay. Even when people are in the depths of their depression, there is a part of you. You got to find it. But there is a part of you that is very okay. And the moment that you can just get under there, the moment you can get under the fear, you'll find that part that's just like, you know what? I'm okay. Someone said, I'm afraid of being unprotected or not worthy of protection and guidance. And so you ask yourself, so everything serves a purpose. We are very intentional beings. What is the purpose of this fear? What is this keeping you from? What is this preventing, in a sense? And that question needs to be asked to your ego self. If I'm afraid of this, then what is it? I wish I had a better way to phrase what part of me is this protecting? What am I being kept from feeling if this fear is present? Yes, realizing that the part that is excited and okay, that is who you are. Absolutely. Afraid of failing. What does it mean if you fail? What does it mean if you fail? How do you trust that good things will come to you when traumatic things happen to compassionate people all the time? The thing is, undo the conditioning that there's such a thing as a good person and a bad person. So that's what that. Life happens. Life happens no matter who you are and no matter what you do. Part of the problem with, nothing's wrong with your question, right? But I'll say part of the problem with that line of thinking is that it says certain people deserve things to happen to them and other people don't. That's not true. You have no idea. I am a fairly compassionate woman, but I also have a shadow. And so there are things in my shadow that will spring forth certain traumas in my experience in order for me to learn. There are things in my shadow that match certain lower vibrations. And so in cases where I really need to get my stuff together, unconsciously, I'm going to call it forth. So you have no idea what is happening in that so-called compassionate person's experience. You call good things to you, but you also open yourself up to the range and the expanse of life, knowing that life happens. You are the master of your universe. Your universe is you. You're walking around this plane. You are colliding with so many other different universes. You can't control what those universes do. But what you can do is work on yourself to where when things that could be traumatic happen, you are in such a place to where you're able to look at life and process it right then and there, to where you're able to open yourself to all of the things and all the lessons that life provides. Just because you become a quote unquote better person doesn't mean that certain things won't happen in your experience. It just don't work like that. So you accept life as it is. See the good in your life and you'll receive more good. That doesn't mean that you won't receive anything that you think isn't good, but everything is good. Everything is good. Everything is working in your favor. Everything is working in your favor. It's just a matter of how you decide to perceive it. There are certain things that one person may view as a trauma that another person won't. There are certain things that may affect one person in a certain way that won't affect another person in that same way. It's all a matter of what is within you that certain levels of fear are able to attach to. What happened the other day? I was driving the other day, headed to go meet one of my spiritual sisters. My tire blew out. My back tire blew out of nowhere. When I tell y'all I didn't give a dang on, I pulled over. I got off the nearest exit. And when I got off the nearest exit, it just so happened to be a tire shop right there. I went to the tire shop. I said, I need help. They changed my tire immediately. And then I went on about my way. Now, that didn't happen because I live such a I do live a magical life, but because I'm magical. That didn't happen because I'm a compassionate person and because I deserve for that to happen, which I do deserve for great things to happen. But it happened that way because I just was like, cool, what's next? What's next? Spirit was like, find a tire shop. I was like, oh, it's right there. Pull up over there. Spirit was like, don't stop right here on the highway. Get off the exit. I was like, cool. Okay. Boom. So things just be happening, y'all. Yeah. Yeah. There is no fear or stress in the outside world. It's only fearful and stressful thoughts, okay? Because it's all in your head. It's all in your head. Afraid of not having anyone who has my back. No community. Not wanting to feel compared to or feel ignorant before I know what my own beliefs are. Work on your relationship with yourself. Work on relationship with self. That's always like, with stuff like that, that's always the first thing. Because why does it, and you can ask the fear this. Why is it that is what the fear decides to attach to within you? There are so many things for you to be afraid of. Why is it choosing that? What is it within you that needs to be brought forth? What darkness within you, what density within you is it attaching to? And that tells you now what you need to pay more attention to in your life and about yourself. Because why is it a fear of not being accepted? You could be afraid of falling off a damn cliff. I'm pretty sure you're not afraid of that. You know, not like in the front of your mind. You could be afraid of spiders. There are so many different things. But why is the fear choosing to attach itself to this thing? That's how. How has this thing, what is this connected to? How can I break this down? Where have the feelings that this brings up, where have I felt that same feeling in other aspects of my life? And that's going to help you with understanding the root of that fear, so you can break it down, dissolve it, and transmute it. Okay? Because it's all love, baby. Transmute that into love. How do you transmute that into love? You start to trust yourself. But y'all work on that. Yes, you could have got bent out of shape and wasted so much energy. Because I already knew that I didn't feel like being bent out of shape. My tire blew out. Tires blow out. Tires be blowing out. Shit. I was like, I'm glad it blew out when I was next to an exit. I had to drive a little bit to get there on that rim. I hope that rim is all right. But I was just like, what else could this have been preventing from happening? What could this have been preventing? So it's gratitude for it happening exactly the way that it happened, because I don't know what worse could have happened. So just gratitude for however I was protected in that moment with that tire being blown out. I could have been delayed on purpose. So yes, we only miss out on opportunities that are a threat to our safety, a threat to our spiritual process. And even in that, it's not even a miss out. We don't miss out on nothing. So we miss out on nothing. Because if it's not for you, if it was going to threaten your safety or threaten your process, then I'd be like, my ass has to do the Heisman on that. Thank you. I'm not missing nothing that wasn't for me. And there are times where I found my mind asking what ifs about the past. Like, man, did I make the right decision? Did I move forward? And I'd be like, fear, bye-bye. Was it right for me to move forward? Be like, you know what? We don't turn back. If it's meant, it's going to come with me. So, all right, I'm going to get to some of these questions. I go in like 15 minutes. How do you face a fear that you've overcome, came and experienced, but it resurfaces in a different way? So I feel like I answered this question a bit, but it's not, like I told y'all, fear is there for the sake of fear. Fear does not care what it attaches to. It just wants to live. So it's attached to the vibration. So look at the way the vibration of whatever the fear that you've overcome, look at the way it matches the vibration of the new thought, idea, belief that the fear has decided to attach to. That means you need to go deeper and find the root of this. Because it don't matter what you're afraid of. Why is fear able to be present in my vessel? And getting into that true answer to that question is asking yourself, why don't I feel 100% safe and secure? Because if you feel 100% safe and secure, there's no room for fear. Fear ain't got nowhere to go. The more I heal, the more I can feel fear trying to knock at my door. Beforehand, it was just here. Y'all, it was just here, living its best life, having a party. Okay? Saying, oh, this girl easy. We got her. But now, like, the more I heal, the more I become more self-actualized, the more I'm able to see how fear has to be like, hey, you still feel the type of way about that thing? You still got feelings about that? If so, I'm going to just invite myself in. And I'll be like, no, you're not welcome to the party. So you start to look at where is it, like, what are the roots of you not feeling safe and secure? And you're going to have to work on healing your feelings around that, just your foundations for safety. And just being who you are, being yourself, being in your body, being on this earth, being a human being in a vessel. So someone said, how do you move past anxiety? So anxiety is, I'll say one of the Right, you can't sit with us fear. So one of the things with anxiety is it's this obsessive worry and anticipation of the future, right? So one of the best ways, honestly, to move past anxiety is to start to be still. You're going to have to allow a lot more stillness in your experience. Now, and y'all know I'm just such a big proponent for plant medicine used in a safe way. Plant medicine is an amazing way to start to move past anxiety, because if someone has very extreme anxiety, they may not even know what it feels for their body to be calm. They may not know what it feels how it feels to be at homeostasis. So this is where stillness is required, because you gotta start to understand what it feels like to be absolutely just completely calm. And then as the anxiety comes up, you can start to ask it, why are you here? Anxiety is trying to tell you something. Anxiety is trying to communicate with you that something's not right about this. Something ain't right. Something don't feel right. So you've got to talk to it and ask it, why is it here and what does it want from you? And then you can start to work through the things in your experience that the anxiety is saying no to. And a lot of times, like when there was a time where I had waking anxiety. As soon as I woke up, I had maybe 2 seconds of stillness. And then the anxiety was like, whoop, right in my body. But at that time, I was so out of alignment. I was in a relationship I wasn't supposed to be in. I was at a job that I hated. And I don't even know whatever the hell else was happening, because that was a whole nother life. But my body was in such distress. The anxiety was coming up to communicate to me. We don't like it. It came up when I was waking up, because it anticipated me living a day that I did not like. And it already knew I would live that day in a way that felt absolutely horrible to my system. And so the feeling of dread, like anxiety feels like dread to me. The feeling of dread about my day would come up, and now I'm just walking around with anxiety every day. Now I'm high strung. Now I'm on alert because I don't feel safe. I don't feel secure in my body. I don't feel secure in the world and in my atmosphere. So everything truly is going to come back to that. Why don't I feel safe? Why don't I feel secure? It's gonna come right back. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna save this, y'all. Okay. So this person says, I am scared of darkness. I always feel that someone invisible is hiding. How to come out of this? And there's another part that says you hear knocking and things like that. That is, you need some help. Honestly, I'm going to say that you maybe could use some help, because what it sounds like is there could be dense energies that are just around. And because you are afraid, they keep coming around because they feed off of fear. So what this could be is that there is shadow work. I'm going to call it shadow work. There is shadow work that needs to be done within you in order to assist with transmuting, casting out, releasing these energies that are gathering around you. So something within you that could, I don't like to say needs to, but whatever. It sounds as if there's something within you that may need to be healed. That's the best way. That's the best way I can answer that question on this. I'll say that. Okay. Y'all got 10 more minutes. Someone I didn't want to ask you going to leave. 10 minutes. Okay. how do you transmute? Like the process of it and how to do it daily. So let's see. So I'll give an example of trying to think of a good example to give. I'll give an example of worthiness because I feel like that's always a good one. So people have different reasons for not feeling unworthy, right? For not feeling worthy. And again, unworthiness is an energy. And we can look at this the same way as we look at fear. We can look at this as a parasite that will find something to attach itself to. We've got an entire society of people who got 10,000 reasons not to feel worthy for whatever, okay? So now, if we go into this thing of not feeling worthy, this is also protecting you from something, okay? It's covering up a fear. So now, say I thought that I'm not worthy of love. What is that protecting me from? What could it be protecting me from? If I'm someone who says, I'm not worthy of love, I could be protecting myself from actually getting close to people. Because something could have happened in my experience to where closeness actually scares me. It scares me for someone to see who I actually am. And so I'm using unworthiness as a guise to protect the fact that I'm actually just afraid to be seen. Okay? So how do you transmute this? Now, you look at it as protection, you see it as it is, and you speak to it and say, you know what? I want to be seen. I want to get close. I don't need you. And not in that, I don't need you, but thank you. Thank you for what you've been doing for me, but I no longer need you to protect me. I no longer need you to protect me. And so with love, I'm going to send you on your way. You're going to have to keep doing that with it because again, this is energy. It runs in cycles. You're going to have to keep retraining your mind. I'm okay. I'm all right. It's safe for me to be seen. It's safe for me to be heard. It's safe to get close to people. You reinforce yourself with safety and also trust. I trust myself to set the proper boundaries. I trust myself to know what to do. Safety, confidence, trust. Safety, confidence, trust. But it's really good to understand, and there are so many different ways to do this healing thing, right? So you don't have to go into the psychology of it. You don't have to. You don't have to dig deep into the whys, but y'all humans, y'all be having fun. I say y'all because me too. I like to know. I'm becoming more okay with not knowing why because honestly, it'd be a waste of my time now. I'm like, girl, you don't need to know why. Just go ahead and move on past it. But with some people, it really helps them to know, oh, this is what this is protecting. Okay, since I know what this is protecting, then now I can speak to it and I understand, you know what? I just don't need that anymore. I'm okay. Now you trust yourself to move forward. What is a reason you can be afraid to be seen? Honestly, so many different reasons. But what I have found is that people really are just afraid of themselves. It masks itself up. I'm afraid to be judged. I'm afraid to be criticized. I'm afraid of what people may say. I'm afraid of. But what it comes down to is I'm afraid of how powerful I am. And I don't know what's going to happen when I really show up for myself. And often it's because it's never about another person. People are going to use all types of, they're going to run in circles around the reasonings as to why they're afraid of certain things. They're going to make it about other people. They're going to make it about outside eyes looking at them. But really, it's you don't know what's going to happen when you step into your power. And when I say you, I'm talking about your ego self. These parts of your ego are going to have to die. When you step into your power, there are so many things about you that can no longer exist. And so now your ego is going to create all of these reasons for you to stay right where you at. So really, it's all a ruse. It's all about the same thing. The ego wants to live. And so sometimes that shadow is going to come forth. But like I told y'all, the ego and the shadow, they mirror twins. So if it's not one that's going to rise up, the other one is going to rise up. And it's up to you to start to transmute all of that energy. And you use it. They're not your enemies. They're not your enemies. You can look at both your ego and your shadow as tools for your evolution. They're going to bring things up so that you can see yourself. Because something that I say often, and it's so true, an entity cannot help but tell on itself. Entities tell on themselves. They can't help it. So these dark energies that are coming up within you, they gonna tell on themselves. They coming up, they be trying to hide, but they be hiding in plain sight. It'll even be down to, you'll be having a conversation with somebody, right? You'll say something, you'll be like, I don't know why I just said that. Y'all be telling on yourselves because it can't help it. It can't help it. So they're not your enemy. They're tools for growth, and you just use them as such. Like, you see these things as they come up and be like, the hell? Why did I just say that? Because I be thinking about them and I be because I be thinking this and that, this and that, and I needed to make myself aware. So I said it, so I could hear it. What books or actions do you recommend for us to learn about our ego, shadow work, and fear? Y'all, so much of what I do is from experience. So, yeah. Then, I don't really recommend that book. I gotta think. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a book that talks about fear. There's a spiritual solution to every problem. That's a good one. There's a spiritual solution to every problem is a good one. I feel like there gotta be another book that I've read that talks more in depth about the ego. The Power of Now is a good one. I feel like most of y'all probably read that too. The Power of Now. There's a spiritual solution to every problem is a really good one because it gets into the patterning of things. It tells you why you be doing stuff. And so, what's up, Zay? And so, I wish I had better, but I have learned so much through experience, through working with myself, through working with other people, through observation, all that good stuff. There you go. Somebody's giving books. Y'all give the people book recommendations. Because in this phase of life, it's so hard for me to read. And I love to read. I got an entire bookcase over there. It's hard. Oh, you know what I did? You know what I really enjoyed listening to that was really transformative for me? There is Alan Watts has a series of lectures on Audible, though. I don't know if it's on YouTube. It's called Out of Your Mind. It's like 13 hours worth of lectures. But when I say, y'all, that did something for me when I was listening about it. It tweaked something so good. Out of Your Mind. Alan Watts is on Audible. 13 hours of listening. I was paying them things back. I might just play them in the car. Real quick. Okay, I got 2 more questions. I gotta go for lunch. Let's see. For the question about invisible people in the dark, where do we go to get help about this? Well, one, otherwise, I don't know. I don't know. And like I said, this is a matter of stuff within you that needs to be done. Now, if you need recommendations on your specific situation, I can help you with that. I can help you with the work. I can let you know some things to do. Otherwise, I can't tell you. But I'm just saying. Just book a session. Okay. Okay, one more question. Okay, where do you recommend to start with shadow work? How do you consistently look into that darkness without it consuming you? Well, the thing is, it's already consuming you. It's already consuming you if you've never looked at it. It's running your life in truth. And so a great place to start with shadow work. And again, when we say darkness, it's like, don't look at it like this big creepy thing. Your shadow is your shadow. This is yours. You don't have to look at it like a monster with claws coming to get you. These are things about yourself that you have found unacceptable. You don't want to look at it. You don't want to see it. And so you put it in the closet, and that's why we call it the shadow. So these are just things about you that need to be unearthed, right? So you start, I'm going to give an exercise for this. First things first, you're going to have to be very honest with yourself. That's one. What you can do, one thing you can do, two things you can do. You know what? If you're someone who's not self-aware, because I'm asking them like what exercise to give, they tell me not to give that other one. If you are someone who is unaware of yourself, and even if you are, you can try this. Talk to maybe like 3, 4, 5 people that you know. Ask them, if you knew I wouldn't get mad, what are some things that you would tell me about myself? What are some quote unquote negative things that you would tell me about me? If you knew I wouldn't get mad, what are some negative things that you would tell me about myself, or like habits or behaviors that I display? Listen to them people and listen for the similarities. Those similarities make up part of your shadow, and you start to work there, because it's very hard to say that about yourself, to look into those things about yourself if you aren't aware, without doing it in a way that's very like, well, I don't like this about me. I don't like that about me. I don't like this. Like, that's not what this is for. This is for you to recognize your unconscious behaviors. The shadow is very unconscious. And so in order for you to unearth it, that's why we need people as a mirror. I gotta keep doing this to look at my shadow. You know, like I'm walking around and I'm not just seeing it, you know, it's unconscious. So ask a couple people in your life. You can frame that question in whatever way. If you're feeling froggy enough to ask it, ask a couple people in your life to tell you about you. And you know, take what they say, find the similarities, and you start to work on those aspects of yourself. And then you start to ask yourself questions about those aspects of yourself and being very honest about how and when they show up. Why is it that I'm really doing this? Like really going deep into the heart. Why do I feel the need to do that? What is this? What is this protecting? What is this behavior protecting? Why don't I feel safe? You know, you get back down into it that way. All right. Okay, y'all, I gotta go. This was great. I'm going to save the live. Love y'all lots. I'm going to see y'all sometime next week. I got a long weekend of work, and then I'm going to rest my voice. So maybe like next Tuesday or so. We'll see. Maybe Sunday. I don't know. But anywho, okay. See y'all next time. Have a great day.